राधे राधे राहुल जी.
राधे राधे कृति जी. अभी तो पॉज कर सकते हैं.
Yeah, this is Tripti. Do you want me to make you host or Nitin ji?
Yeah, I think you can make me the host and then I can make Nitin ji co-host and all the other ones here. So
Okay. Thank you. I will make you host.
yes.
Everyone, we will get started now. Very warm welcome. Hope you're having a great start to your Saturday or have had a great day. Fridays are usually good for most people. So let's get started, and thank you, Radesh ji, for turning on your video. Good to see you. We will get started with our opening prayers by invoking the blessings of God and Guru, and then we will get underway. The topic of our discussion today, we are going to talk about Jivatma today. I think, and a bit about Maya as well. Okay, so let me share my screen and then we will get started. Sorry about that. This is what happens when you have multiple screens open and then you end up sharing something entirely different. Okay. This is the one I should be sharing. Okay. So good morning, good evening, everyone. Let's get started with our opening prayers. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanurmardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you. Let's get started. Like I said, we are discussing this topic of Jeev, Brahma and Maya, and we have discussed about Maya, and today we will get into Jiva Shakti of God. And I've picked up a shloka that talks about that from Bhagavad Gita, and like we always do, a verse from Bhakti Shatak as well. So it's chapter 7, verse 5, and those of you who might be joining new, it's not that we have reached chapter 5 or it's not that we pick up stuff randomly. There is a method to this madness, okay, which might seem okay. Sometimes we are in chapter 12, sometimes in chapter 18, 7. So based on the topic that we discuss, we do the cross references around it. And sequentially or in order, we are in chapter 4, which we will resume in 2023 because we will complete our recap of chapter 2 and chapter 3 by then, and then we'll get started. And then some very nice shlokas are going to come from 4.32 onwards, including the one that I'm personally looking forward to is 4.34, talking about Guru, the concept of Guru itself. So let's get started. We'll talk about the topic today. I'll recite it and then you're welcome to follow along. Apareyam itastvanyam Prakritim vidhi me param Jiva bhutam mahabaho Yayedam dharyate jagat. All right, we'll take maybe few hands today, maybe the ones who have turned on the camera real quick and then get started because we have a hard stop today. So I want to cover all the content that we have lined up today. All right, we've got the young one today as well back. Okay, let's get started.
Radhe Radhe Shepali ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim vidim me param Jiv bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat.
Very nice recitation and happy birthday, Shefali. That was a good
Thank you so
recitation
much.
for your birthday.
Thank
Did
you.
you read the Sanskrit one or the English one? Tell me that.
Both.
Okay, good one. Very nice. All right, let's pick up a few more hands and then we'll get started.
Radhe Radhe Samji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Happy birthday, Shefali ji. अपरेयं वितस्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो एदं धार्यते जगत्.
Very
Radhe
nice,
Radhe.
Samji. Radhe Radhe. I think we can pick up 3 more hands, maybe. Maybe if somebody's new and going to try.
Yes, I will try. Radhe Radhe.
Sure.
अपरेयमतस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत्.
Very nice, Parnaji. Beautiful.
Radhe Radhe Shri Ramya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Apareyam
अपरेयम्
itas
इतस्
twanyam
त्वन्यं
prakritim
प्रकृतिं
viddhi me param
विद्धि मे परां
jiva bhutam
जीवभूतां
mahabaho
महाबाहो
yaedam
यायेदं
dharayate jagat dharayate
यते
jagat.
जगत्.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
राधे राधे.
So very nice, Swadrut. I think I got his name right. Swadrut.
Yes, correct.
Wonderful. Loved it. Great job. Okay, let's pick up maybe 2 or 3 more hands and then we'll get started.
Radhe Radhe Ramesh ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Apareyamitastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param जीवभूतां महाबाहो य एदं धार्यते जगत्. Sorry for
Very
that.
nice.
Thank
Thank you. Mishi. Okay, we'll take 2 more hands and then we'll get started.
Radhe Radhe Payal ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Payalji,
Radhe
good to see you.
Radhe Radhe. अपरेयम् इतस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत्. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Payalji. Radhe Radhe. 1 more hand we can pick and then get started.
Radhe Radhe
Good
Ramesh.
morning, sir. My name is Dravid Nadesh. I am from Hyderabad. Apare vidvishvam. Apare it's tanvenam prate vidhi me pratam jiva bhutam maha bo yavodam diya jagat.
Thank you. Yeah, you keep practicing it, you'll get better. That is how we all
Thank you, sir.
start.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well tried. Thank you. Maybe 1 more hand we can pick and then get started.
Radhe Radhe Sumesh ji, please go ahead.
राधे राधे अपरेयमितस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतां महाबाहो ययेदं धार्यते जगत्. राधे
All right,
राधे.
so let's get started. For those of you who couldn't get it today, I think let's take note of them. You can do it on the next session, the Monday one. Get a preference, but let's get started because we have a hard stop at 10. So I wanted to cover some content today. So in this one, Lord Krishna is saying that such is my inferior energy. And when he's referring to his inferior energy, that means the Maya that we were talking about. But beyond it, O mighty armed Arjun, I have a superior energy. This is the Jiva Shakti, the soul energy, which comprises the embodied souls who are the basis of life in this world. Now he's talking about us, each one of us. And he's qualifying it by saying that it is a superior energy. Superior is a relative term, right? Superior to what? Superior to Maya energy, which is he's terming as inferior because it is the Jada Shakti. It is not sentient. And by virtue of being sentient, it becomes relatively superior to Maya, the soul energy, and that is what our existence is. Okay. Each one of us is a divine soul, and we are eternal fragmental part of God. And we are going to talk about this energy today and understand what this part of God means. Okay. So let's get started. So this is what we are going to talk about today. We are talking about the energies of God, the Maya external energies, what we have been speaking about. Jiva Shakti, which is Tatastha or the borderline Shakti, is what we are going to discuss today. And then you have a Swarupa Shakti as well, which we are going to discuss next week, because it will take a session or maybe multiple sessions of its own. Now the question comes, when we are eternal parts of God, why are we not as perfect as God? If we are part of God, we should be perfect as God, because each part of God should be like God. What makes us different and not as perfect as God is? And if we are part of God, if so many infinite souls are there, does it make God any less? Because infinite parts have been removed out of his body for him, right? So that is also a concept, basically. We'll not go too deep into it. Basically, there is a saying in Sanskrit shloka is there, right? Purnamadaha purnamidam purnat purnam udachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate. So basically, God, even though if you subtract infinite from infinite, it is still infinite. God remains same. Okay. But today's discussion point is, if we are part of God, why are we not as perfect as God? Each part of God is meant to be perfect. So let's get started. Now, this is God with his body or personified form, of course. This is the Maya Shakti, his external energy. This is the Tatastha Shakti, the Jiva Shakti that we are. And then we have a Swarupa Shakti. Now, let's talk about this Jiva Shakti or the borderline Shakti. So you look at this, is it God actually became fragmented like this, broke apart and became, we came out of it? If it was something like this that you saw on your screen, then we should have been perfect like God. God has disintegrated into so many pieces, and each piece is complete in itself. That is not the case. It is the Tatastha Shakti. That means we are the ansh of his Jiva Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. We are ansh of that, not direct part of God. Okay. Again, going back to the same analogy that I was talking about initially, even our body has different things, qualitative and quantitative differences there in our parts, right? Like nails, hair. Now, the part of the Jiva Shakti is who we are. We are not direct part of God. Okay, it's a very technical point just to understand, because if this thing comes up, that why are we not perfect as God? Because we are not the direct part of God. We are actually part of his Jiva Shakti. That fragmental part is who we are. Okay. Now, it is like a little bit like, see, God is Satchidanand. However, this Jiva Shakti aspect of it, if you look at it, it is like Anusat, Anuchit, and Anu Anand. God is Vibhu Sat, Vibhu Chit, and Vibhu Anand, infinitely knowledgeable, infinitely omnipresent, and infinitely blissful. We know through our experience we are not infinitely knowledgeable. We can't even master one single subject, material subject of this world. So there is no question of becoming infinitely knowledgeable. We are not omnipresent. We cannot be present at two places at the same time. Right? God is omnipresent. And we are not knowledgeable. We are not omnipresent. We are not blissful as well, as infinitely blissful as God is. Yesterday we felt happy, today we are not, mood is off, tomorrow it might be even worse. So we are not ever blissful or infinitely blissful, which is another quality associated with God. So the key concept that we need to understand is, because we are the ansh or the or the fragmental part of his Jiva Shakti. That is why we are not as perfect as God is. Okay, so the first that you see, disintegration that you are seeing, this is not the first impression that comes to our mind is God's part, right? So it should be like God. So that's not the case. So that's a technical difference we need to understand. Okay, now this is the Bhagavad Gita shloka we saw. Now comes the Bhakti Shatak verse. Okay, Maharaj Ji, like I said, in Gagar, he is put in the Sagar. He has also touched upon this. Let's see what he's saying. He says, Jiva tatastha shakti par maya kar adhikar radhe radhe vastu tastu yah das hai Swami Nand Kumar Radhe Radhe. He's qualified it as Swami Nand Kumar. He's not saying Swami Brahma or Swami. He's very clearly saying Nand Kumar. We all know who is Nand Kumar, right? So he's again reiterating who's basically the Param Purush here. So what it says is soul energy or Jiva Shakti belongs to Tatastha Shakti, Krishna's neutral power. It's a neutral power. And he's qualifying it by saying it is a superior energy. Then his inferior energy, Maya energy. But since eternity, all the souls are under the control of Maya. However, the soul's true identity is that it is an eternal servant of Krishna. That is our constitutional position. Energy, when something is an energy, just by virtue of being energy of something, it becomes subservient to the energetic. Your energies are within your control, or are they out of your control? They are serving you. Similarly, God's energies, they are inherently subservient to God, and their constitutional position is that to serve God. We saw that Maya is a perfect servant of God. It is serving God in most perfect way possible. Yesterday we looked at so many examples. We'll pick up a few more from where we left yesterday as well. It was an interesting discussion. So similarly, we are also supposed to be a servant of God. It's in serving God we shall receive what we need. It's like hand serving the stomach and getting its nourishment, nutrients automatically. If hand says, enough of serving you stomach, I'm going to subsist on my own, and severs itself, it will not be able to survive. Or it will start experiencing misery. Exactly the same stuff is happening with us as well. Okay, today I've not brought in that big chart of 24 elements. So the Param Purush looks at Prakriti, glances at Prakriti, and through it comes Mahan Tattva, and then the Ahamkar Tattva, Panch Tanmatras, Panch Mahabhut, and all this creation happens. So the Purusha is the supreme enjoyer, because he's the one who energized Prakriti, and everything unfolded from that point onwards. Now, between Purusha, if we insert ourselves and say we are going to enjoy this world, that is essentially what we are doing in Maya, then we are breaking that hierarchy, natural hierarchy, how it's meant to be. And that is why there are two things that will happen. First of all, we'll never experience perfect happiness in this material world. Secondly, we will be subjected to misery, because it's like you're not following the order how it's meant to be. If you start serving God, you will automatically receive the bliss, joy, peace, whatever we are looking for, because we have violated that hierarchy in our consciousness and trying to become a bhogi here, enjoyers for everything. That needs to be corrected, and that is the whole objective of spirituality, nothing else. Right? You start tweaking your consciousness and you start getting what you need. Right? God says, right, to करता वही है जो तू चाहता है, और होता वही है जो मैं चाहता हूं, तू कर वो जो मैं चाहता हूं, फिर होगा वही जो तू चाहता है. So point here is, it's in serving you shall receive, not in holding on for yourself. That is the whole idea of spirituality. Now let's move on. Now, if we look at the objects of the world, we'll look at it through some analogies just to drive home the point. The world, they are made up from Maya and material energy of God. Hence, like I said, energy is both one with energetic and also different from it. You see this fire? Hopefully it's not going to light up the screen. So the heat and light are part of it, right? They are both same and yet different. So if you look at this fire, light is the energy of fire, heat is also, and it can be considered as different from the fire because it is existing outside of it. And also you can say it's part of the fire itself. Right? Similarly, if you look at it, these energies, they can concurrently exist with the same energetic. So this fire has both heat and light, although they are different entities. If you study science or if you have done, it will differentiate it. It will say this zone, that zone, luminous zone, this zone, hazy cover, all that stuff. So, and they have different properties as well. But they are part of the same fire which emits them. And likewise, in case of God, the energetic and the souls, they can be considered one. That is the Advait Siddhant. If you come across that philosophy, that is essentially what they say. They say it's all the same. You are also God. Okay, that is only focusing on one aspect of it. So we are part of God, not truly God. That is a discussion for another day. When people say you are God, it can be logically, that argument can be dismantled. Okay, with very clear-cut logic. But we're not getting there. So there are similarities with God as well, and at the same time there is a difference. Bheda Bhed Sambandh, like it said. But at the same time, because of their distinct properties, these entities are different from each other. We are not like God. We are Anusat, Anuchit, Anuanand. God is Vibhu, Chit, Vibhusat, Vibhuchit, and Vibhu Anand. So you could say they are same, but at the same time they are different. Let's look at it through another example. Okay, here you look at the sun. Now, sun, as you can see, it's emitting sun rays. So when the rays of the sun, they enter the room, people say the sun has come. That is how they say. But if sun were to truly get into the room, we know what will happen. So it is said because the sun rays are bundled along with the sun. That is how it's a figure of speech at that point. And the energy is both distinct from the energetic and yet a part of it. So although sun rays are a part of sun, but yet they are different. What sun? See, even the sun rays, the properties of sun rays would differ from the property of the surface of the sun. And the properties of the surface of the sun would differ from the properties of the center or the core of the sun. Although collectively all is called a sun. So this is the whole concept here, even in case of Brahma, Jeeva and Maya that we are talking about. It's all God, God's energies, but qualitatively they are different. And even quantitatively, if you look at the soul, we are like small and God is all present and all that stuff. So it has to be understood very clearly. This is a very important fundamental concept. People spend their entire life being confused about this concept. Okay, it's only because of Maharajji and Swamiji that it has been so beautifully, simply, logically presented to us. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand this concept, I'm telling you. You will still keep coming across this philosophy, we are God, Aham Brahmasmi. That one sentence Jnanis pick up and spend their entire life thinking they are God. And they have forgotten being God. And once they'll reclaim, they get rid of this ignorance, then they are God. There's no difference between them and Krishna at that point. Okay, that is the Advait Siddhant. But I say no, that is not how it has to be understood. We are same with regards to being divine. We are same with regards to having the same age as God. And that is where the competition ends. Beyond that, we cannot challenge God in anything whatsoever. And it's in his service, because of the virtue of being his part, Anshi, we have to serve him. And when we serve him or do things for the pleasure of God, then we automatically get what we are looking for. Right? There's a Hindi saying, right? Bin mange moti mile, mange mile na bhik. So we are seeking things for our own pleasure, and that is why we are not getting it. And that is the secret of this universe. You don't ask for it. You automatically get. You simply do things for the pleasure of the universe, and things will automatically come because God is there to provide for what is truly needed for us. See, he's not the cosmic bellboy who's going to provide for whatever we wish. So he's not a wish list fulfiller. He's a well-wisher. He knows what is good for us. And he doesn't give us what we desire. He gives us what we deserve and what we truly need to progress. And that faith needs to be there. And that is the whole purpose of increasing our surrender towards this principle. All right. So this was there. Now, if you look at, okay, I'm getting a little too far. Need to get back here. Any questions on this so far? See, although we are the superior Shakti of God, Jiva Shakti of God, still we are getting beaten hands down by the Jada Shakti of God. Right? On one hand, the Jada Shakti of God, like looked at the hierarchy, serving the master perfectly. And what we are doing is, instead of serving the master, we are serving Maya. Right now, we are not becoming Das of Das, okay, by serving Maya rather, but serving Maya, and that is where this whole process is getting wrong. Maya is saying, why are you serving me? Go to my master. Okay, so that is the whole game that needs to be reversed, and Maya will make sure you serve the master. It will give you disappointment from time to time, and at the same time, it creates a hallucination because of our ignorance that somebody else is happy. That really needs to be challenged, and I'll pick up a couple of examples and then we'll get into that. Just hold off on your questions. So yesterday we were talking about an interesting topic, and I was thinking about it, and then I thought, okay, let's bring this example that I had come across from Swamiji in one of his lectures. So let's look at something interesting. You see this couple? Looks nice, right? Okay, if it looks nice, then let me put couple more couples. Okay, choose your pick, whichever you're liking. Now, if you come across such pictures in Facebook or Instagram or in your friend's feed, you know what you will do? This is what you will see. First thing, some comment will come, and then this will come. A lot of hearts will come. Wow, wonderful, cute couple, this, that, what not. Okay, so now let's look at this whole thing in perspective. Okay, this world of Maya that we've been talking about. And as Jiva Shakti, what we are doing here actually, which is causing this whole, problem, making it problematic for us. Basis of material relationship. Now, if you take the guy and the girl separately, okay, separately take them and ask them, why did you marry this guy? Why did you pick up this person? Or why did you fall in love with this person? Okay. Now, the girl's answer would be, or guy's answer would be, the girl is beautiful and, love at first sight and all that stuff. And they may say she's Sarv Gun Gun Sampan SGS certificate, right? Their parents carry, right? And she's professional. We just click, professionally and other things. We'll say all that stuff. But then you look at it. He's saying she's beautiful. He's actually captivated by the gunas or the stuff around it, right? And because of this, there are because part of it. Either it is related to some guna or some attribute. You ask the girl, why did you pick up this guy? He's very ambitious and rocking career, lot of money. So those kind of reasons are always there. Have you seen anybody marrying somebody to person just because his heart is very pure? Somebody says, dil ka bahut acha hai, dil ki. Nobody cares. They look at career and a lot of other things. There is a reason for that, establishing that relationship. Okay. Now the first mistake is made, right? What is in it for me? That is how it starts. And then we looked at this concept in this material world. A beggar is asking another beggar for money, right? And it doesn't take long for them to figure out that both are beggars. Okay. I mean, they don't figure it out, but then the conflicts start happening because truly speaking, see, if there is an impediment to the expectation you had, let's say that person is no longer career conscious, not ambitious anymore. What happened? The basis of your love or entering into that relationship is shaken, right? Or let's say the girl that the person married, she wakes up as a 70-year-old old hag. Would he still feel the same for her? No, that will not say who's going to deal with this person anymore. I mean, it's not going to happen immediately. But the basis for which the relationship starts, that itself is flawed. What is in it for me? It is not about serving the other, right? Or for whatever reason. And it's not like we become bad because of that. That is how we are wired. Right? This material relationship is based on fulfilling self-interest. And if that delicate balance is maintained between any relationship, the relationship sustains. The day that barriers start coming in, what you thought and what your expectation was, and it's not getting fulfilled, conflicts will start happening and it will turn sour. Why did it happen? Because the basis of the relationship was something which is not sustainable. whether it is looking at the gunas or things like that. It's just a matter of time before those expectation will be shaken, whether it in terms of looks or career or money or whatever you thought initially to begin with, right? And when that is shaken, the relationship starts crumbling. Now, some people sail through it by maintaining, they might have read Swamiji's book, credit debit theory, that for every maintain a ratio of 1:5, 5 good things and 5 deposits and 1 withdrawal. And if both are able to manage it somehow, then it is sustained. Otherwise, conflicts are bound to happen. Right? That is another problem that jivas fall into by thinking of enjoying Maya around and thinking they are going to extract happiness from relationships, objects, places, experiences, and whatnot. Okay. Other illusion that Maya creates for Jivatma is, let's look at another example. I like that. So here's a guy. He goes out on a tour to a mental asylum. Okay. So there he comes across a guy who is very upset and sad. Okay. Very upset and sad. He's very depressed. And he's saying Shona, Shona, Shona. Okay. Very sad. That's all he's blurting out in a very depressed mode. And furthermore, he goes and he sees a guy who's very upset. He's saying Shona, Shona, Shona as well. Now this guy is wondering what's going on here. I mean, he said, is that the Shona is she left both of them in lurch, because of which both have gone mad. They said, yeah, the first one wanted to marry Shona and could not, and the other one actually married Shona. All right, so this is how the illusion of happiness is created in our lives as well. Now, if you're wondering what is happening to Shona, this is the perceived happiness, right, in the material world. Not the true happiness, it is the perceived happiness. Both of them felt. Nothing to do with the reality here at all, right? And if you're wondering what is Shona doing, like I can show you that as well, okay? This is what Shona is doing, okay? She is chilling out right now. She's had enough of both of these guys. So point here being, it's a perceived happiness. Both of them felt. One went crazy because he couldn't get her. Other went crazy because he got her. Okay, but people think, it's just on the humorous side. But this is the perceived happiness we feel as well. We look at things around and people around and stuff around and actually believe there is happiness and it is going to fulfill. Or if I'm not getting it, somebody else is getting it, he's happy. Actually, the point is the beggar theory. Always remind that nobody has an ability to make other people happy. Happiness is a state of mind, it's a choice you make. Nobody else does. Okay, and this is where the Jiva Shakti gets stuck in the worldly affairs, worldly matters. And because the basis of everything that souls go for or a Jiva Shakti goes for is what is in it for me. So that bhog will eventually lead to rog and misery. That is a fact. And it's only when you look at what is it that I can do for you, that's when universe starts supporting you. In fact, there's a theory going on even in corporate circles, leadership through servitude. It's in serving, you shall actually get what you actually need, even to derive the best out of your company or take it to the next level, or even to get the best out of the people around you. And that servitude has to be both in letter and spirit, not showing off that you are doing some servitude, but when you do that, it's a very sure shot success formula. Right? People make you successful. That's a law of universe. If you send out a good vibe, you do a good act, God multiplies it and sends it back your way. It happens. Try it out and you'll see it for yourself. Okay, with that, I'll take a quick break. Any questions so far, what we have discussed, before we get any further?
Nitinji, as you said, we are getting beaten left and right by Maya. Then why has God called Jiva Shakti superior to Maya? I feel Maya is superior. It is having control over us, but we don't have control over Maya.
Yeah, I think God has called it a superior Shakti because it is sentient, right? Jada Shakti it's like a robot programmed to do its stuff. The only purpose of Maya is to do the serve God and to protect its own satta. When I say protect its own satta means If you're going to do a lot of deforestation, if you're going to drill a lot of oil, it will know how to do a balancing act. Okay, it is not a Chetan Shakti. It is not sentient. It does not have an intellect. It's not taking smart decisions on the run. It does not have a free will. So that is why God is calling Jiva Shakti as a superior Shakti. So that is the reason for Maya doesn't have that. Right? Maya is just doing its job. It's like a robot or a programmed robot. If this happens, this will happen. If this happens, and then it doesn't have an ability to truly satiate the soul. So that is why soul is called basically a superior power, because it is sentient. It has a free will, and it can actually attain God. Maya will continue to do its job. Makes sense? It's the potential that God has endowed us with, or we naturally had, because of which we become superior. Although we are losing the battle against Maya. But then we can cross over it. We can cross it over as well, right? So many people have done that too. Okay. Thumbs up means you got it. Very nice. Yes, Arun?
Radhe Radhe, can you hear me? Okay, I just wanted to understand that initial slides a little bit to understand the difference between Jiva Shakti and God. So when you say Anuchit, Anusat, Anuanand, does it mean devoid or does it mean little bit?
Little bit.
Okay.
Anu means little bit.
Okay, okay. So when you say qualitatively, so does this mean they're qualitatively same only for the divinity aspect and everything else is different?
No, see, if you look at it, we have it to a little extent, just like a drop in an ocean. We don't have it completely like God, right? We are not all knowledgeable.
Yeah.
We can't do that. At the same time, we don't have complete knowledge like God has. For us, we keep forgetting stuff as well. God is all powerful and he has all complete knowledge. And thirdly, we don't have everlasting bliss, which is ever increasing. We get a little drop, once in a while, but most of the time we are upset or anxious. So that is why we have that capability, but it is at a very, very finite level, limited level at this point.
Okay, okay. So is the similarity only the fact that we have a little bit of everything?
The similarity is we are actually divine.
Okay.
We are cut from the divinity cloth, not the material cloth.
Okay.
And second similarity is we are the same age as God. And third similarity is that there is no similarity after that. There's absolutely nothing that we can compete with God on.
Okay, okay. And just one more question, just just to understand better, right? So the Jivatma is not omnipresent because obviously your Jivatma is different from my Jivatma and everybody else's Jivatma. That's understandable. And when it comes to the eternal bliss and knowledge, understand again, it's as you mentioned, it's a little bit. Just for my understanding, right? Even if the bliss was infinite, is it possible that we don't feel it because you're covered by Maya?
No.
Okay.
If bliss was infinite, first of all, our heart or antakaran does not have an ability to take it. If let's say somebody gives us that bliss today, we will disintegrate. See, our heart or antakaran has a thermostat on both sides. Like our houses also have a thermostat. When the fluctuation is too much, it just trips the wire to protect the house. Similarly, God has given us a thermostat on both the sides. That means we cannot take pain beyond a point, and that means we cannot take happiness beyond a point also. People get a heart attack with happiness also. So we don't have the ability. Until we prepare the vessel, we cannot even take that bliss. And God, even if he gives us today, it will be useless for us because we will disintegrate. We'll not be able to take that. There's a story about Anandamayi Ma, who's one of the female saints. Some guy went to him and he said, I want to experience the bliss of God. That she gave a laddu prasad to everybody. He said, I want a laddu which has divine, bliss in it. I want to taste that. So she gave her something and he had a piece of it. And after that, maybe just to give him something, experience or something like that, a little drop, maybe a fragment of a drop he tasted, and that guy was sitting there for 6 hours doing nothing. Okay, so that much intoxicating it can be. We cannot take that actually.
Okay,
at this point, God will give us when we are ready for it.
Okay,
right? So it is said that Swamiji gives an example of a gold vessel can hold a tigress milk. No other vessel can hold it. Now, I don't know if somebody has tried to milk tigress or not, but there's a saying in English that only a gold vessel can hold it. So once we are ready, then only God will give it, because otherwise it's pointless for us.
Okay, and even the little bit of bliss or knowledge or happiness or whatever, that it's inherently capable of, even that also we don't experience because of Maya, right?
See, we have a covering of that as well. So once we become purified, that knowledge is already there. It will get revealed. It's just like removing the dust from a mirror.
Okay,
right? Whatever we have inherently, that also is covered because of our, all the sanskars and the impurities that we have acquired in our head. Once that gets sorted out, it will get revealed. It will start shining forth in that case.
Okay. Okay,
that is what self-realization is. When you do self-realization, you don't have to acquire knowledge. It starts getting revealed from within only, because you are removing the layers of ignorance layer by layer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Sandhya, you had a question too?
Actually, it was more of a thought, if I could just express it. So Maya is energy of God, and that's why it's very powerful. And hence we cannot overcome it with our efforts alone. We need God's grace in order to overcome Maya. And I think that is one thing that makes Jiva Shakti superior to Maya, because Jiva Shakti, as you said, has free will, so has an ability to actually receive the grace from God, right? Which I don't think Maya does.
True, very true. It's a Jada Shakti, right? It is not endowed with free will and ability to basically surrender to God. It's already surrendered. It's programmed to be surrendered, right? Energy of God, it is doing its job perfectly, and pushing us to its master. Yes, Rutkarji, you had a question as well.
How to prepare the vessel? Like you said, we have to prepare the vessel for infinite bliss.
Yes, it's a good question. So how to prepare the vessel means cleaning the vessel, cleaning the antakaran. Cleaning the antakaran means, if our antakaran, our scriptures say, if it was to be equated with something, it is like a very old and a dirty cloth. Old and dirty. So how do you clean an old and a dirty cloth? You put it in a washing machine, you put a detergent, and then some clean water on top of it, right? So what it is said is that the only thing which is pure in this world is God and Guru, God realized saint. When you do their chintan, God has given you variety in that sense. God has given his name, Naam, Roop, Gun, Leela, Dham, and Parikar. Okay, so all the 6 things, when you think about God, when you remember him, his Leelas, you read Bhagavatam, you think about his associates, his abodes, his Parikar saints, all that is purifying. It is like applying detergent and clean water. Anything in Maya that you put, it will taint it with colors, 3 colors of Maya: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, white, crimson, or black. So preparing the vessel means cleaning it. And cleaning it can only be done when you take our mind to God or God-related subjects and do that chintan. That cleanses it. And that is the whole purpose of spirituality. Now, what we are doing here, satsang, is taking our mind to God's teaching. It is cleansing it. But then after this, if we start gossiping around, it will dirty it. It depends on how much we are cleaning, how much we are dirtying, right? That cycle has to be balanced out.
So how can we, do it 24 hours a time,
Karma Yoga,
so that we don't get
that's
dirty?
why God has said that you take out some time. It's a very practical question. You cannot do that 24 hours. So you start building that consciousness, because eventually the end goal or the end state or the target state is Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manuspar Yuddhecha. That is what Krishna's instruction to Arjun was. However, for us to reach that stage, it will take practice, like any other thing in life, right? So some of the best practices are: do your sadhana, spend some time, 1 hour or something in your sadhana where you are doing ekanta sadhana. That is one thing. Then you pick up a seva. In seva, you are engaging your mind. You can't do sadhana 24 hours. Then you do seva, where you're doing it for your God and Guru. Some activity you pick up that can go on for hours. And third is, of course, you bring in the consciousness of Karam Yoga that Bhagavad Gita is talking about. First, you are doing things for yourself. I should become this, I should become. Now you do it for the pleasure of God. That I'm going to bring forth my talent so that I can serve God. If I become a great doctor, I will do it as a service to God. If I earn more, I'll give more. So everything you start bringing God consciousness, and gradually it will start happening. It's a process. It's not a unit step function. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's a process. We have to. It's like called a flanking approach in baseball. Not in baseball, the American rugby, football. It is called flanking. Flanking means when somebody is here, you attack it from 3 different angles so that they have absolutely no way of proceeding further. So you do everything. You listen to lectures, you contemplate on knowledge, you attend sessions, you do your sadhana, you pick up a seva and start building that consciousness. I'm doing it for the pleasure of God. So the repeated contemplation would lead you to that kind of a thing. I mean, that's the hope at least we are trying to do here. Where are you joining us from, Rutkar?
This is my first class.
Oh, your first class. Or where are you joining us from? India or?
Jammu, yeah, India.
Jammu. I have some association with Jammu, so my in-laws are from Jammu. They'll be sitting here as well. So here. Great. Good to have you. Maybe we can catch. We'll be in Jammu very soon. Okay, in a few months. So, but yeah, pleasure to have you here. And please fill out the feedback tracker. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Rahul.
There is one more thing to add. Can I make some quick announcements?
Oh yes, we have a very important event tomorrow, and if you want to share how to mark going or whatever, well, let's do that. It's a very important event. Please attend in person or online because it is hybrid, and invite your friends as well because it's going to be an interesting event with regards to the campaign that we are going to kick off for that the beautiful and magnificent university that is going to get built. To check it out and inspire your friends also to make it. Go ahead, Rahul. You can make the announcements and then we'll conclude our conversation.
So the first thing was to add to the point of Rutkarji that apart from all these, please do attend the retreat, family camp or the sadhana shivir which is happening in India. So regarding that, some of the announcements are there that at Banara from 21st to 31st December, we'll be having our Bhakti Yoga Sadhana Shivir, and Swamiji's lectures will be based on Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and you can join it in person or directly from the comfort of your home. That is one of the announcements. And the main biggest announcement for tonight is please do join us tomorrow, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. or in India it is 7 a.m. Sunday. We'll be launching that Give and Get campaign in presence of Swamiji to build our Jagat Guru Kripali University in Banara. So I have shared the link in the chat. We'll share it again. So please make some time and try to join it online. Thank you.
Just mark it in your Facebook as going. It may help you to create a buzz around that event as well, right? More people see that. Great.
Yes.
Anything else, Rahul?
That Facebook link is also there in the chat, but I will share it again.
Sure, please do share that as well.
The last thing, to make your Sunday spiritual, you can join the weekly Sunday satsang from RKT Dallas, 10:30 a.m., which is 10 p.m. India time on Sunday. So I will share the link for that also. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great. All right. So any other questions around the basis of material relations and all that stuff that we spoke about today? The trap that Jiva Shakti has fallen into, it's in giving one shall receive. We touched upon a lot of concepts today actually, where some of the fundamental mistakes are happening because of the ignorance or the aspect that the way we look at things around actually truly are not serving our purpose, right? So any questions around this? We spoke a lot about marriage yesterday, so I picked up a marriage example only. Right? How do the marriages actually take effect, right? You look at something good in the other, and if that good vanishes or evaporates, then it happens, I don't love you anymore, and those kind of things do happen. So this is the basis of our material relationship in this world. It is hollow, and that is how it is. Okay, if you think deeply about it. All right, let me show you some, and this example of the guy, I think you would remember Shona forever now. Hopefully nobody's name is Shona here. And then I wanted to show you something interesting. Here you go. Here are some of our participants who got a privilege to meet Swamiji. As you can see, the birthday girl is here. We have Champa ji, Abhishek, Surinder ji, Jigyasa ji, Rupa ji and Lakshmi ji's sisters, Surya Prakash ji is there, and then Sandhya's family got a chance to meet as well. I'm sure there are more which I have missed out, so I would encourage you to share it with us. It's always a pleasure to look at these pics and see how you have been able to catch up with Swamiji in person, and I'm sure it'll catapult your journey and take it to a different level altogether. So if you have your pictures and you don't see it here, that means you have not shared it with us, or we have somehow missed out. So either way, please share it again and I'll bring it out in the session as well. So anybody who wants to share their experience or talk about it, or even otherwise, since we have a little bit of time before our other session, 10 minutes we have. Yes, Shriramya, did I put your satsang picture as well here, or did I miss that?
Yes,
I am looking forward to your picture, Shriramya, today.
Yeah, it was clicked by Veena ji. I don't have it in my phone. I'll wait till I get my picture with Swamiji.
Please do that. I'm looking forward to that.
I couldn't go for the event yesterday. Sure. I
It'll
met
happen
Swamiji
today.
a day before yesterday. Okay. I just wanted to share my experience when I met Swamiji, and we heard a bhajan singing, and it was 10x the effect of listening on YouTube. Like I thought, okay, I listened to Swamiji, I've heard a lot of his lectures and everything, but in his presence, listening to him and the bhav that we had out of that bhajan, it's totally different from listening on YouTube. This I would say that you have to participate when Swamiji is singing at least once to feel that.
Yep, very true. Yeah, it's just like coming in contact or coming in proximity of a fireball. You will feel the heat. Okay, that is how it's meant to be. You will feel the heat for sure. So if you get a chance or an opportunity, do not miss out. Like I said, these sessions are a way for us to get a foot in the door. And then after you get a foot in the door, once you meet Swamiji, that's where your journey will kick off to another level altogether. Okay. And then when you continue doing session, it will be even more deeper, because now you'll be able to relate to the knowledge that he has beautifully presented to us, all these complex concepts in such a simple way. There's absolutely no question that is unanswered. And that is also to your satisfaction. That is how logically it has been presented in this Bhagavad Gita. So, and a lot of you, we've been talking about it for the last 2 years. You can vouch for that. Okay. Yes. Anything else? Anybody else who wanted to share that? Surya Prakash, you are super hyper excited. How was your experience?
It was very wonderful, sir. And that too, most all the days I was sitting in the front row, so that his eyes was continuing most of the time when he is lecturing. So I was in front of his eyes, number one. First day he has told how the attachment comes, and second day is something desires and intellect. 3 days, desire, attachment, intellect, these 3 days. And fourth day was the how to pray the God with a murti, what type of murti he should be. And fifth day is like yoga. He has explained 5 days. Wonderful. And as madam told, the bhajan was really interesting. First, second day, one of the days I will sing the bhajan also. I planned in your presence. It was excellent. When he is on the dais singing and making others to do bhajan. It is thrilling.
Thank you for sharing that, Surya Prakash. Wonderful. I know I can imagine that experience you would had. Let's hear from others as well. I think I see a few more hands here.
Radhe Radhe Jagrut ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Jagrut ji.
Radhe Radhe Nitin ji and everybody. I can sometimes not join, but I just had a comment like when when previously they were the lady was saying that in person is very different. So yeah, I think, of course, when Swamiji is there, then there is no, it is hard to describe. You are immersed in that. But even outside of that, like, I think the more so there is a book, this is what I feel, there is a book to read, then you can watch a YouTube video, and then you can attend satsang like this. So the more you get to actually hear or interact, it really motivates you and forces you to think like from within. And it's hard to get that from just reading book alone.
Very
So
true.
these sessions, whatever I can participate, even little bit, it's always very fortunate, and it's a blessing only. Out of all the things going on, but that really stays with you even after the session, and you keep thinking about the example. So
yeah,
just wanted to share.
That's how beautifully he has presented it, so that the concepts will stick. The analogies, the concept will just stick. It will just become pakka in your head, at least theory wise. And then practical is really depends on our appetite, how intensely we want to follow that. Thank you for sharing that, Jagruchi. Yes, Arun, you had something, Sandhya?
Radhe Radhe Sandhya ji.
Radhe Radhe Sandhya.
Quickly, I just couldn't stop myself from sharing one thing that, like when you are in presence of Swamiji, I mean, I literally realized that he's truly a Rasik saint, who can even make a stone fall in love with God. So I think it is an opportunity no one should ever miss. If you can go and meet him in person, do not miss it. That's what I just wanted to say.
And I love that statement that he can make even a stone fall in love with God. Beautiful. Very nice. Yes. And those of you who have already signed up for the family camp, you will realize that when you're going to dance along with him, it will be very, very, very different experience altogether. Just listening to the lectures and then the kirtans and the overall immersive experience takes you to a different world altogether. Yeah, Arun, go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Nitinji, actually, I was trying to, I think I had a question about some technical jargon actually. So did you already, so you were talking about Prakriti earlier, right? I was just curious if you already, I had this doubt of if you've come, what is the difference between Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti? I've just heard this, but I did not know the difference.
We can
So
talk
I just
about
got
it.
the doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever the para comes, basically that is related to the yogamaya aspect of it. Okay, and apara means the inferior aspect or the material aspect of it. But we can get into that more detail in one of our subsequent sessions. But like para shakti and apara shakti, we say, right? Similarly, those nuances they carry forward whenever the para apara term comes. Right? Para typically refers to God's internal energy. Apara means the other one, external energy aspect of it, or the material energy, so to say.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we are pretty much 2 more minutes before the next book club session starts. Any last minute questions? Or tomorrow I look forward to seeing you at 7:30. Please do sign in, log in. You don't want to miss out on that. Swamiji is going to be there in person as well. I think he'll address us as well. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. And it's going to be a great event. And regardless, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay blessed, and we will continue on this discussion because we have not yet spoken about the Parashakti, which is also called Yogamaya Shakti, which is also called God's Atarangi Shakti, which is also called God's divine internal power, right? That is what we are going to talk about, which makes even God dance, right? God also doesn't understand the depth of, his own Shakti. It's kind of a very amusing concept, but that is how it is, and we'll talk more about it next week. Yes, Chandanji, real quick, we have about 60 seconds remaining.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya.
Please fill out the feedback tracker.
Thank you,
I had a
Bhaiya.
question and we could not discuss it today. I'll get back to you. Yes,
Thank you,
Chandanji.
Bhaiya, for this wonderful session. I would also like to thank Arun Bhaiya. He is really very curious about these things, which is really very amazing because this open-mindedness of him is really amazing. And that's all what I have to say. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Thank you, Chandan. We'll talk more. And thank you, Arun, for asking all the questions on behalf of people. So your questions are very inquisitive and thought-provoking. Wonderful. So with that, we come to the end of our today's session. You can stay back for the book club session. Over to you, Sunil Bhai and Ajay, if you're around. And Radhe Radhe from my side.
Radhe Radhe Nitin Bhai. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rahul ji. Thank you, Sanjay ji. And thank you, everyone. So let's start this journey on our